Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I'm Magnus, and tonight we're jumping back into our Phoenix Wright playthrough. We just have to hit buttons faster. Let's check in the kitties. Now, Ember is, of course, still back over in the main area. I put some catnip over by where she's resting, and she's been flipping out of that recently. She is one of my cats that really enjoys catnip. So she is tuckered out. Very briefly, you could see Sherbet goes zipping by in the play area. Down there in the lower left. Let's see. I think we have an error here. Let me fix it. I expect we're getting some double voice audio going here. Let's see. It's not supposed to come through there. That's why. Why it do that? Oh, I know why. Let me fix that. Pushing buttons. Wonder how long that's going on and if it's been noticeable. Boo. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Yes, okay. That one goes there. That one goes there. So if you're curious as to what I'm doing, I do have all of my sound routing through kind of a software mixer here. And I have, excuse me, discovered that it is going through the wrong places, or at least it is toggling the wrong places. I think that should still work. Don't know why it's set that way. Check our comms button. Really needed that one in a bit, but you know. Let's fix that. Does not seem to be working. Oh, okay. Is no, that should be strip 7, B3, B3. There we go. Excellent. Got that one. B2, yeah, that one. Microphone is B1, comms is B3. Let's see. Yes, okay. I think I have all the buttons back where they're supposed to be. Let me turn some stuff on real quick. That's set there. Everything is on as it should be. Stop and music is on. It's going to the right place. Okay. Gonna save. Save that. Yep. Okay. I think we have it working. Well, today's obligatory scuff only took about 6 minutes. That's pretty fast for an audio scuff problem. But in that time, Ember took off as she is wont to do. So hopefully some of the kitties will show themselves. In the interim, let's get into the game. There we go. We've got some Phoenix Wright music going. As we said, we are picking back up with the third game of the last part of the Ace Attorney trilogy, in which, at least for the intro portion, it looks like we're playing as Mia, Phoenix's mentor. Oh, hey, we do have Sammy on camera. She's hiding down in the lower left. She likes the lowermost platform of Cat Tree. I think it still gives her an upward view and gives her a quick escape route. At least as far as dodging me if she needs to. Let's see here. Okay, yes, we're cross-examining Phoenix. He initially avoided talking about being anywhere near the death. And we have shown that not to be the case. For some reason, the defense is showing that he is the one that is proving that he wasn't where he said he was initially. See, so what were you talking about? You know, sneeze, cough, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Unlikely. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. Later we went back, I found him lying there. From the look of it, what happened is one of the power lines went down and struck the second guy. So, he got zapped good. So when you say you went back, yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Subtle. Sneeze, sneeze. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. Taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days. The Cold Killer was important, or is important, because a bottle of it was found in the hands of the victim. The alleged victim. Rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? Suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals. So I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. Sammy is ascending. I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. On the day of the incident? What did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly is, at this point, Phoenix's girlfriend, who is the ex-girlfriend of the victim. And that was apparently a point of contention between them. Sammy's having a good time up there. Doing the classic playing a game only she understands thing. Sherbet batting around a ball of fluff in Sky watching Sammy from down left there, from the curtain. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. She's apparently a leprechaun. Why did you punch me in the jaw? Mia's violent. I'm so sorry, I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. Well, Mia? I don't know. I can't seem to find any contradictions. The boy isn't exactly what I'd call a natural-born liar, you know. But still, we can't have him continue to spout nonsense. But what can I do? These are sneaking around today. Keep it on the tree for now. One of them will inevitably come that way. Well, I'm certain he must still be hiding something. Information. Right now, it's information we need more than anything else. Died at 3 p.m. Died at 3 p.m. Yard work can be pretty time-consuming. Welcome aboard, casemate. We're really just getting started here. Situated here. Okay, so he died a little after 3, or at least the clock stopped a little after 3. But I don't think we can bring that up yet. Place behind the building. Check the profiles. me. I was in the department, so we had just met at 2:45. Then at around 3, we split up. Later, I went back. I found him lying there. Taking it for 2 or 3 days, but I lost it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. Apology. Let's go back through the questioning. Had you ever met the victim before? Never met him, but that day he called me up and wanted to talk about Dolly. His current girlfriend. Mia lashes out violently whenever somebody says something, or whenever Phoenix says something silly or damaging. And the person that takes the brunt of it is Grossberg here. So he's been slapped, he's also been punched. Talia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. Those nasty love triangles. 2:45. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 2:45? We're both there right on time. Victim was in the pharmacology department, right? He was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. I'd admit it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high-voltage electricity. Ember is now on the lower platform there. What do I do? Timing of the meeting. 2:45. Yeah, pretty sure that's the time class ends. They're always doing experiments. I think I may have asked this last time, so we'll go back and ask the other one next. Experiments? Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping up something. Looks like he's right about the time, anyway. Maybe she had a thing for pointy hair, casemate. That could be why she ditched Doug. This part has got to be relevant. If you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. We don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high-voltage electricity. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high-voltage cables everywhere. Okay, definitely relevant. Supposed to be 8 months before she was Doug's girlfriend, and then she became Phoenix's girlfriend. The implication is that it was a contentious thing between them. High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. Sherbet's got a bit of zoomy going on here. High voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. Thereabouts. and then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. Wow. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honor. You know, the whole means thing. Relatively important. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. Your Honor. Yes, Miss Fay? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Now then, Miss Fay, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. Right there, okay. Her take that is kind of squeaky. For the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. Smug, smug. Now we can see where Phoenix learned his smug pose. What? There's nothing even remotely that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Where exactly in the photo is the murder weapon? This little sparky dealer right there. Naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe. Remember the testimony we've heard. The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then, the high voltage cable... Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. Certainly sounds plausible. I think that's the only explanation. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was... the defendant. I mean, yes, they had the opportunity to use it as a murder weapon, but the fact that it's a high voltage cable would imply it would be very difficult to use as a murder weapon. You know, how would they have used it as a murder weapon? Oh, well, see, they got a ladder and they, got a whole bunch of protective insulating equipment on, and they very carefully cut the cable so that it would swing down at precisely the right moment and hit the victim. Feels like a stretch. And that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that establishes that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something beside the medicine bottle? Exactly, casemate. what was it? Um, this incompetent organization that can have their secrets uncovered by a bunch of rookie amateur investigators is also capable of undertaking the most complicated, difficult to perform conspiracy action ever in the history of ever. Like, this blundering individual right here is actually a criminal mastermind. Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim was wearing a leather jacket. As you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. I think a lot of JRPGs rely on the, people really not being observant about the behaviors of individuals, There's a lot of people ignoring the cackling and monologuing of the evil vizier kind of things that go on. Though some of that might be, self-preservation. Like, nope, I didn't hear that. I'm not going to bring that up with anybody. Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright would have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. Gavel, gavel, gavel. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us. We're done. Mr. Grossberg. He apparently relies on his hemorrhoids as an indicator of his success in cases. Given the condition of his office, I would expect that he had a better method of performing, lawyer work. But perhaps the root of his success is his magical hemorrhoids. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. Look at him. This is the face of a cold-blooded killer. You're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. At this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. You have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. I would prefer nothing but the truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. If I told you what really happened, then I might be convicted of murder or something. Is that what you're going to say? Oh, well, look at that. Phoenix got serious. He just had to pull his mask down into chin diaper mode. No matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. At least, your end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Cough, cough. Wait a minute. Mr. Wright, I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need for further... I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. None of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Slow read. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Shove. Zap. If you remember, there were 2 zaps in the opening animation. 2 sparks. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell you the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you. Like, you know, it might not be okay. You did just call out that, like, you perjured yourself. The Phoenix Wright world seems to be inconsistent about the concept of manslaughter. A little jogged here. Okay. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim. Grossberg, you're really fixated on your hemorrhoids. Though his description of what they're doing seems to, I think, lend further credence to the magic hemorrhoids theory. That's not untrue, casemate. The Phoenix Wright legal world is special. I mean, again, there's the concept of it being based more off of a Japanese system where the having charges brought against you is much more substantial as far as likelihood of guilt, as far as the court is concerned. But there's also the fantastic leeway that seems to be given to the prosecution to assert both guilt and to misbehave wildly. When I pushed the victim. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. Shove. This is the origin of Phoenix Wright's objection stance. He doesn't say right then, but when he shoved him, he called out, "Objection!" At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried, so I went back, but he was just lying there, dead. Dead. Well, that explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But When I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. I mean, severed high voltage cable would be one of those really apparent things, I would think. Okay, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. Plonk down a save here. Turnabout memories. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. The 3 chimes. Is that all? Yep. He's a simple man during this time period. Though actually he doesn't change a lot once he becomes a lawyer. Well, Miss Fay, you heard him yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I just lost my temper, gave him a shove. Bopped him on the nose with a rolled-up newspaper. He was being a bad boy. Can you tell me more about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. Then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. And gave him a single shove. I just gave him a light, gentle shove on the chest. In a, quote, furious frenzy. When you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen. Right. There was nothing like that at all. But is it possible that you merely overlooked it? Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let the guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. I heard some kind of loud noise. A loud noise? What would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap. You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. Which I do. I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Save the game is what you're gonna do. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. Try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. I like how that shove that he describes as a gentle shove is presented as the finishing blow in a fighting game, you know? The slow motion fly back and fall to the ground. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. Doo-doo. Umbrella, huh? And did the umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. And again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Fay, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Probably. Well, of course it's important. Because I have nothing else to go with. It's definitely important. Zitmia, the information you've been waiting for. He had a cheap plastic umbrella. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into testimony. That's right, casemate. There are plenty of them in here where if you take it, it's just like, oh, well, that was the wrong decision, you lose. Perfectly fitting. A flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. Agrees with the defense's request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. Shoved him, he fell down on top of his cheap umbrella. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you're certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing this sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. Oh. Okay, so either Phoenix viewed the sweater as a treasured gift, or felt obligated to wear it. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. Okay, treasured gift. This time she kicked him in the gut. I'm so sorry. Continue on with your testimony, witness. And it's actually not just when he says something incriminating. It's more when he says something that's particularly sappy. Save. I think we can present the murder scene picture again. Hello, Ember. Hello. Ember has come to demand her attention here. Yep. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. I feel like that might be the real reason that Mia moved on from Grossberg's law firm, is that he got sick of being pummeled during the trials whenever she'd get frustrated. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, if you look at all, The umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. And by the electrical pole, we mean, some distance away from it compared to the person's body. You're absolutely right. Unless it's a gigantic umbrella, I guess that might be possible, but the perspective seems to imply otherwise. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. Other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. I like how his pompadour kind of exploded. The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? All that sweat is making his pompadour lose its firmness. To check with the police, let's check the crime scene. I want to present it as evidence immediately. By the victim, found broken near an electrical pole at the crime scene. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But Mia's like, it's not super high tension music, but it's her kind of dramatic music here. Gives me like a Capcom adventure game vibe, like Castlevania or similar. Got that sort of pseudo pipe organ feel. I think Sherbet's still fighting with a piece of fluff. I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No! I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Victim fell on top of the umbrella. There was a loud sound when this happened. Well done, Mia. Now, where's your magic hemorrhoids now, Grossberg? I mean, in this case, they believe in without a shadow of a doubt. Even still, based on what they're saying, it's not without a shadow of a doubt. It's as long as the testimony has a flaw. Like, I'm sorry, as long as the series of events has a described flaw. If it was possible to infer that something different could have happened, they don't seem to care. It's if you could cleanly infer that a series of events happened such that the murder happened, then the murder happened. The defense has to prove that that interpretation is false, not that you can doubt that interpretation. Like, they have to show it can't have happened this way because this testimony contradicts it. Otherwise, it's assumed to be true. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? I mean, he's tickling his pompadour, probably. Maybe that's a ticklish spot. Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. Like this right here, how the prosecution will kind of hold evidence in reserve in case they need it for dramatic tension. Great, I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness. Gonna bring in Dolly. Exactly, and this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Who is this witness? Yep, bringing in Dolly. And based on the conversation that Phoenix is describing, I get the impression that Dolly is going to throw him under the bus. Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right, she was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. Like, I wonder if it's that she overheard the conversation between Doug and Phoenix and acted to silence Doug for some reason. I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Yeah, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Sure, but it's having a grand old time today. What's he looking at? Hey there, barbed wire. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. The judge has unerring, we'll be right back timing. What is he looking at? Nope, he's just doing a very standard cat flip out there. Let's check on the kitties real quick here. We have Sherbet lower left. Ooh, we have Sky on cat tree too. Mostly visible. Ooh, Ember too. She was hiding behind the pillar. How's your day going, barbed wire? Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then. Relax, my boy. You can't be serious. After hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Sky is mostly made of floof. It's actually been a pretty good day. Not a terribly productive day, but I made use of it, even so. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? On the kitty front, Mason's eye is getting better. He's still got a sneeze. He's probably going to be in quarantine until his sneeze calms down a lot and his eye is consistently better. But he's to the point where he generally has that eye open wide. Still gets a little bit squinty with it, but a lot of the other symptoms for it are going down, and the eye is largely the reason that he's quarantined right now. So that's good news. Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago right here in this very courthouse. Okay, so it is. They mentioned that she broke up with Doug about 8 months ago. And then Phoenix met her at the courthouse about the same time. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. Yeah, it's been a rough time on the cat front, and it's been very stressful. But I'm glad it's turning around. You know, despite the significant cost to some of them, hopefully it's over. What is the crazy medallion he's got on? Well, I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. It's like a little decanter inside of the heart shape there. No idea, barbed wire. No idea. One of those said the wrong thing, stepped on something that you're not supposed to step on. You know, tripped over some object that was inexplicably sacred. She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she says, "I want you to carry this." So she gave it to you as a present, I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little Dolly. Certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy I show it to everyone I meet. I wanted to share my happiness with the whole world. You know, this sequence of events that Phoenix is describing, where effectively a stranger approached him and talked about how it was like, oh, it's love at first sight. Here, look at this piece of jewelry I have just for you. Isn't it great? It feels like a pickup artist move, and the roles are kind of reversed. Shows it to everyone. Anyway, so after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Maybe I grabbed the last bag of something at the supermarket and, you know, the wizard equivalent of a Karen was offended. But see, she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. Is Phoenix essentially saying that she showed it to him and he stole it? I think it would be kind of amusing if Phoenix Wright gave you more red herring items. Like, this item will never ever be relevant items. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne, 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to have been August 27th, would it? The attorney badge is sometimes a red herring item. There are circumstances where you need it to get people to talk to you. But that's not every game, not every case, but you always have it. Yeah, but more items like that, barbed wire. Huh? Yeah, it was, but how did you know? This happened on August 27th, right here in the courthouse. A newspaper clipping. Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Yeah, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these two cases. Am I correct? That is true, barbed wire. And I also like how dismissive people are sometimes when you show them the badge. It's one of those big deal. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look down in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can. I want to do whatever I can to help, to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like the recess is about over. We'd better all get moving. I mean, if Grossberg leaves, who will she pummel? Is she gonna punch Phoenix now? Oh, this could be good. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though. If you weren't here for the other instances, anytime Phoenix said something really sappy or stupid, Mia would physically assault Grossberg, who was standing next to her. Like, she would just lash out and slap him or punch him or kick him or something. Grossberg being her boss. And whose reaction was generally, "But please stop." Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. Oh wow, isn't she fancy? She can summon butterflies. She's got that that silk scarf, the way it's wrapped around behind her, is often used in some in some art to kind of represent a sort of divinity. It's sometimes like a halo style equivalent, especially if it's like looped higher behind them. What's with the stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It's my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit you radiate a glow of complete sincerity. We now know the judge's type, I guess. I can't believe he actually said that. Oh, now then, witness, would you please state your full name? The amount of time Payne sat there, staring at the young girl sweating, before he snapped out of it is, concerning. I don't know that she necessarily trains them barbed wire. Maybe she's just, like, soaked that mantle in, you know, like honey or a proper floral like scent, and she just has somebody supply her with butterflies for dramatic entrance purposes. Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous. Yeah, the judge definitely has a type. Wow. Yeah. The old men in the room. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size. I will bash them with my gavel. I mean, she's a college student, but still. Payne definitely has a creepy old dude going, and the judge has a her grandpa vibe going. They really don't need to be slobbering this much. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. That was a fun character, wasn't it, Barbed Wire? How every time she got shocked, her glasses exploded, and then she just reached into her satchel full of spares. Thank you for calming my nerves. You are all so nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. It was nothing. If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine. No, the honor is all mine. Oh. Well, now I want to know what Dahlia's shock and break phase poses are. Mia, well, we know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Wow. I guess Mia felt left out. Sir? Is there anything I can help you with? You can just go on and say whatever's on your mind. I mean, I guess she's not wrong, but still. I'm sure there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. Phoenix has a nickname. Hello, Ember. I laid down some catnip for Ember. Yes, yes, I can see why you'd say that. He's going to be a tough witness, all right. Well, there's Sky. Of course, with Sky here, you can see Sherbet's wondering what's going on. And because Sky shoved in, Ember is upset and has walked away. Exactly, Tess. Ember gets picky about that kind of thing. Hello, Sammy. Ember is pouting. She's looking right at the other two. Sky seems to be a eat the catnip type. I can't recall. I know Rorschach like to eat it too, but I think he would sometimes just roll in it. They're good boys. Despite how put out they have made Ember. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger. I do need to get another... get a box together. What you can do is... get a box that you can generally seal. But you get a little rack to put in the bottom of it so that you can set things up on top of the rack and fill the space beneath it with catnip so that you can sort of scent infuse the object. It's more temporary, but it's something that you can redo over and over, as opposed to some of the little toys that contain catnip sewn in them, where eventually that catnip wears out and it's just like a lump. If you want to be less efficient about it, but to have a similar effect, you can just have a big like Tupperware full of catnip. Toss the toys in there, shake it up, and leave them there for a while. That can also be effective, but it will take the catnip with them when you use it. Gavel. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Oh, man. So if you look where Ember's looking, she is staring right at Sherbet right now. You know, I don't know what the active thing inside catnip is, as to whether it would lose potency when, like, effectively boiled. It is an interesting thought. You know, get one of those little sensor-looking tea strainers, load it up with catnip, and soak some water, see what happens. Could be an interesting experiment. Maybe we're going to have to science that. Or at least research that, but you know. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. I'd been planning to go back to Feeney's place after class was over. Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeney noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, she does have that, kind of East Asian divinity thing going with that shawl. Usually it's just like a thin kind of silk shawl looking thing, or almost like a gauze shawl, the little ribbon going under their biceps and arcing around their back, and it will be suspended by no apparent means whatsoever. If it's longer, it will like loop higher, but that's usually something that's used to kind of present them as goddess-like. Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please, tell us the truth. But I would never. That's more than enough witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. Tee-hee. You haven't changed a bit. Mia Fey. What's this? So you two are acquainted? You can see Ember's ears bottom center here. There we go. She is currently licking up all of the remaining catnip, because there's nobody here to interfere. Sky is in full post-catnip nap mode. Yes, we've met before. Once. Pet Sammy wrong, so I'm getting some corrective bites here. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours. Good to see you again, Madam Fey. Madam? No one's grandpa yet, girly. Unless I'm mistaken, Mr. Wright, is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building? Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese senryu poetry. How wonderful. Is that humorous? It's that humorous yet satirical style of haiku, yes? Nothing left to do when a man reaches this age. Sleep is his best friend. That's supposed to be poetry? Sounds more like a midlife crisis. For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through that back area. I believe it was something like she's a junior, a junior studying literature. Yes, I see. That makes sense. I don't know if that's, as far as stereotypes go, better or worse than a communications major. When I want to enter the courthouse, I always walk through the front doors. How else would you enter? Teleportation? So who is this Dougie person? Sorry, Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago. What were Dougie, Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about? How can you be so mean? Wow. Big gloppy teardrops. I would never eavesdrop. I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined. That's right, Miss Fay. Don't drag the witness down to your level. The courtroom is definitely unbiased. Why am I being demonized here? Please go on. What did you see next? Suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. Is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeny never did anything to Dougie. I press her for no good reason. I just know the judge will get angry with me. Well, that's a you should save here flag if I've ever heard one. What should I do about her testimony just now? Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? But I would never... Miss Fay, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... Mia just staring him down. Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did, in fact, push the victim. What? There's no need to try and cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw. Don't be all naughty and don't lie to the court again. Promise you'll be honest this time. Yes, Your Honor, I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. You know, to leave out the lie part. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. You didn't see it? Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground. And at that time, there was only the two of them at the scene. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow. That's right. It didn't look like they were fighting, and I didn't hear anything unusual either. So then, what did it look like they were doing to you? I thought they were having a nice, friendly afternoon conversation. Give me a break. That's why I wasn't really watching them all that closely. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? No, nothing at all. Oh. Oh. Ooh. None of that, Judge. Stop it. Like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. When you say students, do you mean students from the pharmacology department? Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs. Please try to stay on topic. So you find some pharmacology students, and you went to the lab. So to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct? That's what I was planning to do, but in the end I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow they all seemed to know what was going on. The students knew what was going on. But how could the students have known what was going on? Well, I don't know for sure that they knew what had happened. It's just they all seemed kind of excited about something. Doesn't look like I'm going to get any more information about the students. So did the students call the police? Yes. I was so panicked. Yes, well, anyone would have been, my dear. That girl, she's telling a super obvious lie and she knows it. She's just pretending to protect Mr. Wright. It's got to be it. Way to go, Mia. Yeah. Okay, that means I'm going to have to dig deep to find the contradiction on this one. What we got? Murder in the courthouse. Very little information is being disclosed at this time, since the victim of yesterday's incident in the district courthouse cafeteria is said to have been a lawyer. However, police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who is sitting with the victim. Ah, I didn't hear anything unusual. A loud sound. You say you didn't hear anything unusual. Is that correct? Yes, that's why I was very relaxed looking at the scenery around me. Wow. Kitties are moving all over the place today. That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that? You were really that close to the two of them. Why didn't you hear this noise as well? So this is the kind of the defense on the offense here, music. And it's reminiscent of the base Phoenix Wright version. So my guess with this is that all of the students came pouring out because the high voltage line went down and probably messed with all of the machinery. Maybe I'll have to look back through some of the full recordings that I have of Phoenix Wright sessions and find if I can get some clips of the word gavel. Did you hear the noise as well? Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable. But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise, like a snap. No way a noise like that could fail to make an impression. May I have a moment to answer? By all means. I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. I like how the music tends to change when she makes that little smile. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and was listening to music at the time. Headphones? You mean that both of your ears were covered? The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. It's definitely a would-be poet, this girl. Thunder and lightning, huh? Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder. So I put my headphones on to block it out. Cackle, cackle. Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all. Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change the whole case. There was lightning. Your Honor, there's a problem with the witness's testimony. What do you mean? Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct? Yes, what about it? Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right? Now it's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Fay. Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning? So there's going to be the moment where they say, oh, it hit the umbrella, but it's going to be, oh, but it was a plastic umbrella. Must admit, the thought had not occurred to me. What kind of thoughts do occur to this guy? Well, I'm sure a lot of the thoughts right now are about Dahlia, so... This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But that very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt. It appears the defense may have been onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental? You did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty. Cackle, cackle, cackle. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fay. Well, I mean, you've got that hair, so what were you expecting? I mean, in theory, oh, that's true. Let me see here. No, okay. It would be, wouldn't it, barbed wire? Aw. I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What? What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to the case. I mean, the electrical cable is nearby. Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence? This affidavit. And who is this affidavit from? The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their lab that day. Allow me to read out the court testimony of the pharmacology students. All the equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day. Was it a blackout? All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely, they lost power because of the severed electrical cable. Power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m., which fits with the time of death listed on the autopsy report. Pretty much, barbed wire. If there was... Well, to be fair, if there were no lightning strikes in the area, there could have still been lightning. The victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. Still a bit of a leap. It's just plausible. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future. I see. Apparently the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break. However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cables could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it had to have been bumped into, correct? It would have been more plausible if they had said that there was a faulty hook or something like that, wouldn't it, casemate? Well, I suppose you could say that. Miss Faye. Do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable? Your Honor. I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion. Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break? Alright, let's point fingers wildly. This is it. This is why the cable snapped. Well, Your Honor? Nope. Oh, broken near an electrical pole. They said it, despite how it looked, that it was near a pole. So I wonder if the assumption is that when he was shoved, he threw the pole up, the umbrella up, and it hit the cable. And that very light bump was enough to just snap the cable in half. the thick, high-voltage cable, because it was ever so brittle. Let's try it. Well, the cable snapped. Well, Your Honor? Nope. Okay, well, at least they're not being that silly. Maybe he was pushed back and he hit the, no? He fell back on the umbrella. See, in this scene, he's right next to the pole. And Phoenix mentioned that he put his jacket on after he left. But that doesn't line up. All right, we're flailing. We're flailing. Nope. Maybe we can point to the umbrella. Oh. Thrashing continues. Sure, why not? Oh, well, okay. Please think back to Mr. Phoenix Wright's testimony, the defendant's testimony. He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m., correct? That sounds about right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55, which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Okay, explain yourself, ma'am. I want to hear this story. Yes, the prosecution also came to the same conclusion, simultaneously. It was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. Afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. See, again, he's by the electrical pole. The umbrella is in the middle of the road, away from the electrical pole. Right, the victim banged into the pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense, and then the victim was electrocuted. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. The victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. Once again, I'm missing something in the perspective here. Okay. So, we're assuming that the victim did fall onto the umbrella. And let's assume that the umbrella is actually over by the other pole, even though it does not look like that at all. If the victim fell on the umbrella over there, then he wouldn't have been hit by the cable over here in the foreground. but his body is down here in the foreground now. So I think a lot of the inconsistency comes from the fact that the umbrella is rendered as if it's halfway between both poles. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Gavel, gavel. 2K games, I don't want anything to do with the WWE game, seriously. Ah, the lamentations of my enemy, how I've longed to hear them. You don't want a lawyer to ever, even in their heads, quote the Conan the Barbarian "what is good in life" thing. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant... Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember them. What? Just once more, may I please testify one last time, Mr. Judge? Of course, it's all right. Just go ahead and give your new testimony. His beard has got to be dripping with drool at this point. She's finally starting to show her true colors. The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind. Cable snapping, and Dougie was being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than a minute. So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. And that is when the defendant pushed him for a second time. So sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge? Of course you are. As painful as it may seem, you are. You know, I didn't mention it at all up until now, and it contradicts what I was saying before about how he just wobbled and fell over, and then that I didn't see the moment of the push and he fell over. But now I'm certain that I saw him push him twice. She is utterly believable. I think the fact that the witness is being believed is highly reliant on the judge oogling her the whole time. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. Barbed Wire, I get the impression that the judge's ability to handle being deceived is akin to a dog with a tennis ball. You know, the whole fake throw it thing. Even if it only lasts for a moment, it works just about every time. I know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to protect Feeney. That's why I lied to the court. That's okay, right, Mr. Judge? So that's why you basically lied to the court. Thank you, Mia. Thank you. I was a bad girl, I know. Mr. Judge? Yes? Would you please forgive little old me? Wow. She's not even hiding it now. Of course he won't. What did you call... That's what you call perjury. Oh, come now. It was one little old white lie. Not perjury at all. Just a little fib. We'll forget it this time, but please be more careful from now on, all right? Just ignore all of the other times they forgave her for it. Thank you so much, Mr. Judge. Hey, Ember. Judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl. You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole. I know he doesn't look it, but Feeny can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be. Oh, really? But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeny really is scary when he gets mad. He sounds like a very dangerous individual indeed. This guy comes over to sit with Ember. He's like, well, this looks cozy. Ember says, well, now that you're here, it's not cozy anymore. Tried his best to run away. So let me get this straight. You were happily listening to music on your headphones while you watched the scene unfold. Miss Faye, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness. I wasn't happy. I was so scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on as my current boyfriend clearly was trying to run down and assault my prior boyfriend. It was good times. Cheer them on? What do you mean by that? Well, I wish the best for them both and that they would each give the fight their all. It's very sweet of you to be so supportive. And bloodthirsty. It's admirable. And what happened after that? Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. Doesn't sound quite right. There were handprints found in the chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints in the back of his leather jacket? That's not to say that later trials in all Phoenix Wright games are not contrived as all get out, but the first trials are always contrived. They're usually one of those, there is a terribly obvious flaw in the whole thing, and it's just a matter of dancing around until you're allowed to point it out. Well, there weren't. Though that doesn't prevent them from going wildly off the rails into crazy territory like Phoenix Wright trials go. Wow, blurred all those words together. And Faye, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeny wouldn't have left prints behind in that case, would he? Cable snapping, Dougie being electrocuted, it all occurred in less than a minute. Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted? Sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away. That's understandable. Yes, indeed, it would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold. I don't figure out the contradiction here. It's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lie, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Yeah, they, the most common thing they do to prolong stuff is what really amounts to concealed evidence. Is the prosecution has all kinds of witnesses and evidence that the defense has no idea about until they're called. So they'll present something and say, oh, but I have conclusive evidence now. This witness saw the whole thing. Why doesn't anybody else know about this? It seems like it would be important for the defense. Tried to run away, caught him. It all occurred in less than a minute. Okay, so I think there's two possible scenarios here. So, if we look... So, we know he died at 3 p.m. We know that the cable broke at 2:55. There's a 5-minute gap between the cable breaking and the death occurring. So I think we can present this.
Objection!
Oh, music stopped. I'm right. Ah, it's a lovely thing when the music stops. That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Feeney likes to take for his cold. I think that they're saying is that he died at around 3. And it's a little after 3, like 3:05 or something like that. That his watch shows, which is supposed to be when his watch was broken by the electrocution. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words... Yes, and your point is, Miss Fay? My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping? According to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. 2:55. Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? I mean, her basic, like, you have me... Like, I've been thrown off a little bit is just her clutching the umbrella and looking shocked. It was during that interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow. Gavel, gavel, gavel. What is this nonsense? The real murderer? Even you can't deny the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for. Nice little Phoenix Wright back and forth going on. Then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? Smug hair flip. If I recall, for Phoenix Wright, those moments are where he puts his hands on his hips. As opposed to with her, she flips her hair. There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow, only after my client had left the scene. Was there a window of opportunity for the real killer? Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer? I'm pretty sure we know, but... always possible that there's something silly that's going to happen and that we have the wrong idea. It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for to deploy my special move. Yes, Your Honor. We are ready. Very well. But remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Who is the real killer? To me, clearly Dahlia. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. How can you? The defense is grasping at straws. 10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. I believe, Barbed Wire, that this is the backstory of how Phoenix and Mia met, and Mia becomes his mentor. By this time, Phoenix had already wanted to become a defense attorney because of the events in, like, grade school between him, Larry Butts, and Miles Edgeworth. There was some, like, stolen lunch money that Phoenix was accused of taking, and it turned out that it was actually Larry. I'm sorry. It was actually Larry that had done it, and Edgeworth defended Phoenix. Which is why it was supposed to be a big shock that Edgeworth was such a cutthroat prosecutor, because Edgeworth wanted to be a defense attorney. If I recall correctly, what exactly were you doing that whole time, Mr. Hawthorne? Miss Hawthorne. Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it really hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you. I mean, credit to them, a 10-minute fight? Miss Faye. What? I mean, why? That is to say, Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your very own hands. Okay, her heavy shock is to be buffeted by wind from nowhere, which is kind of cool when you think about, like, Mia's accusation has a tangible physical force. How can you say something so mean? I didn't do anything. Gavel. Miss Faye. Phoenix from left field. Runner, please, I have something I want to say. Sneeze. You, what is it? Please, strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that. Yeah, but if the recent Final Fantasy patches have taught us anything, Barbed Wire, they do get pretty cool music. So, I think getting overpowered attack patterns is a valid trade. Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man. Leave my dolly alone. That boy He's gotten himself in way over his head. Grossberg has returned from his research mission. Seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping. Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Better take a good look at it. Let's do so. Doot. Courthouse cafeteria. Victim was Diego Armando, who was a lawyer. Dolly was suspected. Ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee. Wow. Okay. So she had a necklace with a very obvious little glass vial in it. She was in the presence of the victim when he was poisoned. During the intervening period, she went out, encountered Phoenix, buttered him up, and gave him the necklace. Then went back, and there was no poison found. Subsequently, she has repeatedly asked Phoenix to give the necklace back. The vial contained the poison. Obviously. It details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Ah, okay. So that is why Mia was involved and has such a stake in that case, is that Armando was her boyfriend. I know it's actually a name, but at the same time, I think just about every time the name Armando has come up in popular media, it's always it's always in the context of like a lover or similar. Or somebody that fancies themselves to be one. The defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Oh, really, Your Honor, She has returned to serene divinity. Second phase, fight begins. May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't you worry, my dear, I have this situation well in hand. Sniffle. That is, I go right ahead. Are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. You know, where I actually said you were the murderer. That is an accusation of murder. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this. Cry. Sorry, please go ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. It's all just too much for poor little me to bear. I believe the girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. We will get to that in just a moment. Quick break, and then we will be right back. professionally situated folks. And we're back. Okie dokie. I believe the girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. Answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. Hello, Sammy. Hello. She does. She has a lot of the same sort of movement pattern that Rorschach did. She will very slowly walk across onto my lap and then just stand there for a bit. Getting pet, the difference being that she will eventually sort of lay down and soak up for a while. Rorschach would not do that. He would just stand there and sort of stare into the middle distance like, I have walked over here, and I see the other cats do this now and again, but I'm not sure what I do next. Sammy has discovered, oh, I get pets when I do this. I am on board. But I have to make sure not to move much once she does. She's easily startled. Months ago, there was something in the basement. Then, the same day, the two of them accidentally met. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony about what? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case? The witness claims that she had no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason. Gavel. Very well, then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on there for just a bit longer? Of course not, Mr. Judge. The terrifying thing is I feel almost certain that her voice would be kind of ooh-woo. Like, a voice that could easily say something like judgy-wudgy. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, I met my Feeny. Just met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. We're so lovey-wovey we literally make people sick. Just jealousy, I think. That was Wright interjecting. Mr. Wright, do that again and you will be held in contempt of court. Bailiff, gag that man. And now we enter the final act of our little dream. As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her. So, I could understand go get him. But Grossberg is clearly of the generation where if a common saying in his youth was "go get her," there should be concerns in investigations. Let's go. So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow. Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. I wonder, yeah. Okay, he's a fourth-year student. He was still in university in pharmacology at the time. So up until 8 months ago. Presumably, she killed Armando with poison. So she got the poison from Doug. Once she no longer needed to obtain the poison, she handed off the delivery mechanism to Phoenix and latched onto him to keep the ruse going. So I think that's how Doug got involved, in the fact that Doug was telling Phoenix to get away from her because there was something, like, he needed to know something, that Dahlia was a bad person. That was Dahlia's reason to act, is she was worried that he was going to essentially say something incriminating about her to Phoenix. A real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself. No, not at all. Look at me. I'm infamous for changing my mind. Rapidly and without real prompting. Please don't chew on me, Sandy. Her paws and teeth are ever so pointy. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle. And he laughs about it like it's clearly a joke or a term of endearment. Not a condemnation of my capabilities as a judge. Ow, ow, ow. Maybe you should look for a different line of work. Yep. Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdict. I mean, I don't think we have any indication that a concept of an appeal exists in the Phoenix Wright world. That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini. What about being a good judge is a good allusion to Houdini? You know, an illusionist, an escape artist. It's like we were destined to meet. The courthouse reading room. That's a strange place to meet the love of your life. Not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer. So, I get that he was studying law on the side, but why would he be studying art at the time? Because I thought, like, his ambition was to become a lawyer. Nice task, barbed wire. Yeah, he makes his mistakes disappear and he helps criminals escape punishment. Excellent. Illusionist and escape artist. But Phoenix being essentially getting an art degree, but he's studying law on the side. Wouldn't he be studying law to get a law degree? He was clearly at the courthouse studying legal concepts or something like that. So is it that... Would a law degree have been more expensive than the art degree? Is he hoping that... Well, actually, no, this makes a lot of sense. This is why Phoenix kind of blunders through all of his cases. It's because he was studying and got an art degree. He just has been doing law as a hobby. Perhaps you don't actually need a law degree, you just need to have a degree to become a lawyer in this world. It explains everything, folks. We've cracked the case of Phoenix Wright's incompetence. There are particular places that I can set my beverage safely, because Sky exists. Thanks for joining us, Barbed Wire. Have a good night. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading? This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case. Miss Fay, I'm warning you, if this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case, I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I'd better tread carefully. Nope, this is important because we need to establish that she was having lunch with the lawyer. Your Honor, if you'll allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony. Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room? If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing. She was not. We have that newspaper clipping or the case file that says she was with Armando during that. You're writing a paper? On what? On the relationship between modern Senryu poetry and the criminal underworld. Sounds like a fascinating research idea. That sounds like, I mean, that kind of thing can be fun from a research perspective because it's a thought experiment. Now, I can't say for sure if there is any such real-world linkage, but that kind of thought experiment can be interesting. That said, unfortunately, that kind of thought experiment is usually taken as proof in a lot of circles. See just about every cryptid and proof of aliens and ancient civilizations that exists. If you can draw any sort of correlation, you have proven that it exists beyond a reasonable doubt. Am I getting old? Now I've even forgotten what I've forgotten. It's... Both of the little haikus that she's called out seem to be jabs at the judge. Again, with the midlife crisis stuff. Yeah, why did that girl really come to the courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? Speaking of forgetting things, you haven't forgotten the police report, have you? Grossberg reminding us of the critical evidence that is relevant to the statement that she just made. Went through a lot of trouble to get it, Matir, so you be sure to read it very carefully. Yeah, interviewing the suspect.
Objection!
Table slam. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Fay? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy? Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? It is interesting how much the judge is capable of remembering sometimes. Though, it might just be that it was 8 months ago is why the judge is able to remember it. The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report, and that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. That sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago. Gavel, gavel, gavel. This is unbelievable. It's true then, the loveliest rose can hide. Miss Fay, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness with an unsubstantiated claim. I, Winston Payne, will not allow it. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Pardon me. Go right ahead. It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me. Expressed some interest, huh? Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during the incident 8 months ago. I see. Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. You've brought them up in the context of the other case. Oh, no, okay, I get it. She's saying that she has shown that Dahlia was involved in the prior case. That's what tied them together, is that Dahlia is involved in both cases. Let's go on the offensive. Well done. You did something, I guess, Mia. Stop talking about your hemorrhoids, Grossberg. Can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids. The poisoning. Met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. When I heard it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that. Yeah. So, poison in the necklace, poison obtained from Doug. You'd almost expect some sort of, like, demonic muttering coming from his pants, the way he describes those hemorrhoids. So that's what happened 8 months ago. However, as you've heard from the witness's testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. Terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger? Their power level is rising? It is. You're glowing with a true lawyer's aura, my dear. The proud posture and self-confidence, absolutely smashing. Smashing! What were you talking about with the defense attorney? I'm sorry, but that's confidential. According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case. The lawyer that was killed, he said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was young. Why don't you tell us about what that incident was? That has absolutely nothing to do with this case. Objection sustained, despite the fact that it's exactly what we're doing right now. get involved in a lot of incidents, don't you, Miss Hawthorne? I guess I was just born under a bad sign. Don't worry, Dolly. I'll protect you. You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady. At this point, you have to expect either there's a bailiff, like, constantly holding Phoenix back, or he's been, like, tied to a chair or something. Oh, Feeny, please. These two really are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons. How long were you gone? I already answered all these questions for the police, but if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. What were you doing during that stretch of time? Using the toilet? What are you saying, Miss Faye? Toilet, my perfect little dolly doesn't poop. You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time. Oh, Feeny, please. The police have already looked into this whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time. I think this is going to be the key point. That's the reason they didn't arrest you, because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison. I think that's a good enough reason. He's right, and I think we've had enough of Miss Faye's questions. The main reason Miss Hawthorne was never arrested was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison. All I have to do is find a way to establish it. Or did a lit student get that poison? Music stopped. You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. Bum, bum, bum. Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow. That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University. Pharmacology? His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. I like how poisons are kind of romanticized, but it ultimately just comes down to something that if it gets in your body, it's really toxic and will kill you. There are a lot of things that are very, very poison. It's less rare and special so much as, like, extra poison. Yep. The question here is something that's so poisonous in small doses. Because, I mean, you give somebody enough of something, it's either going to become toxic, or it'll give them cancer. It's like the whole, you have to drink lots of water has a limit. And then it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table. You. I really want to see what her breakdown animation is. Devil. Could it be? That's nothing but a baseless May I say something, Madam Faye? What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container. Well, yes, that's true. I was searched immediately after the incident took place. Definitely had a handoff/shell game kind of scenario going on here. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down. But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? He's right, they even mentioned that in the report. Oh, you could have easily gotten rid of something that small. Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. You're saying I threw the poison container away. I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? What's this proof you speak of? Provide some evidence, or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Fay. So we can come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead. Police conducted a full-body search of Dahlia in the entire courthouse. And yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred. You're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder. And where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it? You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Someone gullible. Someone easily manipulated. Someone who would have no reason to question a really ornate necklace that was given to them by a total stranger who suddenly professed true love. You needed a stupid mark. A mark like Phoenix Wright. Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness's accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him disguised as a present. What? But that's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does this mean, Miss Fay? The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago, August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away. Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here? No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. As long as it's not volatile over time. No. Gabble, gabble. On behalf of Dolly, I object. Mr. Wright, control yourself. I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat. Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? Because I'm madly in love with her. Madly in love? I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Oh, man. Maya going in for the throat. Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me, too. Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is because of that necklace. Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. That's why she keeps asking for it back. Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing. Please give it back now. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. Well, you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for you, insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie. Yeah, are you all right? The defendant, he's getting away. He just plowed through everybody and ran off. And probably is going to get clotheslined by a bailiff any moment now, you know? Are you all right? Yes, I think so. That boy, he went completely insane. Where's Mr. Wright? Looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be back soon enough. Thank goodness. Oh no. What is it? The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone. That's terrible. Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me. Foolish boy, that's the only thing that could have saved him. What blazes are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court. You know, I wonder if this is the beginning of all of the crazy shenanigans that occur in the judge's courtroom. Because this is before we see Edgeworth show up. This is before we see Francisca show up. Everything except Von Karma. Von Karma would have been operating around this time, but Von Karma, would he be operating in the same court area? I don't know. But we do know that after this point, this kind of thing happens in the courtroom constantly. Sorry, I'm afraid that your apology is not enough. Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me, I'm sorry. It's okay, just give back the necklace. I ate it. Let's remember how big that necklace was in the picture. It was like at least palm-sized. And has at least one point on it in a heavy chain. That's going to be an adventure getting it back. Phoenix is going to have a hard time on that adventure. You what? You ate it. It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but yeah. That was made of metal and glass. If he chewed it into little bits first, then that mask would no longer be white. He's crying because of the pain. What is he doing now? Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may have had some poison in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that bottle did not contain a deadly poison. How can you be so sure? I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So it would seem There must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency. It's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see that you place this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side, too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. No, it's not because you have faith in her as a witness. It's because you're sleazy. Which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong. Gavel. That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events. But why? This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything. Even after I proved so much, is she going to get away with everything? Gavel. Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial. Mr. Wright. I'm sorry, Miss Fay. It totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, but I feel like I really let you down. You did, and you should feel bad. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day, the day I met Doug Swallow... That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. It's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time, too. That's why she was at the pharmacology lab that night. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Shove. Is it true? Did he really say that? That's ridiculous. There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but... I'm sorry, Dolly. Your Honor, the defendant is... Miss Fay, you tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. The Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago, too, huh? You put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, and there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow. The night before. Naturally, her motive for stealing it... Oh, she stole the poison to put in Phoenix's cold medicine. Since she always saw him taking it, and if she poisoned him, got rid of him, she could get the necklace back. Naturally, the motive for her stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay. Gavel. If you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this. Your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore... What exactly who was Miss Dahlia planning to kill? There was one person standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way, and that person was... Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me? That's preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered. Well, it's true that that's how things worked out, but let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Mr. Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. It could be that Dahlia still liked Doug. But it's hard to say. You, Phoenix. There's no one else it could be. But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love. Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice, I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about, the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right. The bottle necklace. That's all she cared about. But even so, why would she go so far as to murder him? 8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia could think of only one thing: how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. It can't be. It definitely can be, Phoenix. It was a pretty good move she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met. He went from an annoying loose end to an active liability. You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright? Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. Can't be true. Feeny, what a joke you are. Oh. Oh, okay, we have actual phase 2 of Dahlia. This is the I'm getting serious face of the actual culprit. How can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me. It's Hawthorne. It appears that we're nearing the end of this trial. Fine, I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that, but first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. No, hey, old man, are you senile or something? This time she didn't use a haiku to imply that he was too old to be useful. Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face? Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you? Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. See, the butterflies are part of the disguise. With absolutely no proof, you treat a voluntary witness as if she's a mass murderer. It's far enough apart this would be a serial killer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now if you don't mind. But we're not finished. Fine, then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. Can't let her get away this time. It's going to be his cold medicine that has the poison in it, and they'll be able to check it and find out that it's the same poison. Stop, Mia. If you keep on pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer. You could get a very small sanction that ultimately doesn't affect your career in any way. You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid. No. You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Fay. Or should I say, Miss Gray? I don't get it. Well, Miss Fay, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all? If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. To be honest, at that point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. And I think this might be the basis in history for Phoenix Wright's wild bluffing strategy. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Stab in the dark time. This would like to present proof. Impossible, you can't possibly. Hair flip. Stupid woman. The opinion of court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented. Just one? If you're unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright. I like how they're taking it out on Wright, that the trial has dragged on. Understand, Your Honor. Just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar. She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, the poison was probably in there. Present your evidence. Here it is, Your Honor, the evidence that will prove her guilt, once and for all. Tylenol. Cold Killer X, Mr. Wright's beloved cold medicine. Though, to be fair, drugs like Tylenol and drugs like acetaminophen and acetaminophen and is it ibuprofen? Are toxic in large amounts and are, associated with nasty side effects. Does this rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold? If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned. What? Remember what the defendant said in his testimony. I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one that took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine. I'd like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? What are you talking about? 8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle glass, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room. My client, Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Phoenix Wright. I believe she did testify that she was going to meet the defendant. Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and the victim were arguing about, and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized she couldn't allow him to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this was when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying that bottle of poisoned cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago? Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way she did back then. She had someone else hold it, in this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? Huh? What? Yes, that's exactly right. It's just pure desperation. I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine. I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some. Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now. Mia Fey. Here we go. Ooh. You think you've won? Well, do you? Here we go. That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being? Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again, I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay? Huh? Why, yes. I'm going to go spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. Wish you all the best. That is, I will get you later, there, for sure. Finally, all over. I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claim. But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it. I don't care. I'm Winston Payne. I don't believe one word of that this rookie lawyer has said. Are we going to see Payne rip his pompadour out and change his appearance to the one that we know and love? Oh, Mr. Payne, then Mr. Payne, let me ask you this. Yes? Would you care to try this cold medicine? What? Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said... There, it's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right? Well, you see, and here comes the backpedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life? The defense will stop trying to get the prosecution to kill himself. I told you, Maya's convictions have physical force. She blew his hair off. Mr. Payne, about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Yep. I was actually expecting him to get so frustrated that he tore his hair out, but, you know, Maya does have psychic powers. Yes, Your Honor, I'll file papers for her immediate arrest. Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning. Don't lie, just admit you were wrong. By the way, Miss Fay? Yes, Your Honor. Was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other? Your Honor, whether we did or not has no bearing on this case. Very well. Miss Payne? Mr. Payne? It can't be happening. It's a nightmare. Like I'm losing to my daughter. It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Which is interesting when you think about it, how the gesture that he had here, where he was like bobbling his pompadour like that, he continues that exact same gesture going forward. Is it that he became so used to doing that that it became sort of a tick? That same little tap. And then it's just he's not tapping anything anymore. Because, you know, it originally, and, you know, this is probably retcon territory, but it originally looked like he was just lightly tapping his forehead. But perhaps this is an ingrained physical behavior that he developed back when he had hair. It can't be true. My dear Dolly. Very well, then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Confetti time. Gavel. This court is adjourned. Yeah, you were wonderful in there. Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg, including letting me use you as a punching bag to air out my frustrations. During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius. Yeah. You need to see a proctologist immediately, or perhaps an exorcist. Because those hemorrhoids are definitely supernatural at this point. Mr. Grossberg, do you, maybe think you could stop talking about them? That's rather rude. Apologize to my hemorrhoids immediately. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with the client? Perhaps it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this. Mr. Wright, congratulations. Thanks. You know, I was thinking... Go on. The dolly that I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her. It was an alien doppelganger. What? Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something. Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. It's probably for the best. Don't really want to get poisoned. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little. But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. That's less of a compliment to you and more of a condemnation of your friends. What kind of company does this guy keep? Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. No, you're an art major. That's close to the opposite of a lawyer. It's what you keep saying, but I thought you were in the art department. Yeah, well, I am. There's a friend that I desperately want to help. If I hurry, then I should still be able to save him in time. I see. Say, Miss Fay, a lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? That's right, I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope. I hope we can see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on. Oh, so maybe this was just an introduction to show Mia's first case as well. So are we going to flash forward to Phoenix now? For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind. Again, she was a spirit medium, so maybe... Actually, no. We do know for sure that Mia is able to actually, actively possess her sister from the grave to communicate with Phoenix. So, yeah, he can probably hear her in his mind. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. He's trying to bribe his way in as a, as an apprentice lawyer. He's gonna paint all those pictures for them, and then they're gonna, I don't know, fund him getting a second degree. Mia is one of those characters. The way they describe her is, I think, a solid argument that Jedi would not like the whole concept of the Jedi ghosts. The blue spirits of dead Jedi. Because you can't tell me that every dead Jedi got along with every other living Jedi. You know that there's some, dead Jedi that was a real jerk, and that his whole reason for incarnating as a spirit is to hound a person that he doesn't like. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years, something has happened that's made me think back to her words of wisdom. But that is a story for another day. Episode 1 complete. Oh, hey, we finally get to meet Mr. Cyborg, who's been in all of the art. Would you like to save? Yes, I would. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap up there. I hope everybody had a good time this evening. We have gotten through the first game of the 3rd chapter of the Ace Attorney trilogy. Sorry, the first trial of the 3rd game in the Ace Attorney trilogy. We're getting there. We're getting there. Once we get through these trials, then we have the, I think it's the Great Attorney Chronicles or something like that, the newest ones, to move through. And then we'll have to figure out something else that we put in our Tuesday slots here. But yeah, good times. Let's see. We won't be streaming tomorrow. On Thursday, we're going to do some more Yes, Your Grace. Then on Friday, it's more Murder by Numbers. And then we'll round out the week with some Danganronpa on Saturday. Again, double streams are a possibility, but not guaranteed at any point. Those are kind of at whim sort of things. But every now and then it will be good to make a little more progress in these games because there is a lot of ground to cover. And we have other games potentially in the same genre to get to. But if you have other suggestions for this kind of game, or just other games in general, feel free to swing on by the Discord and give me suggestions. If you have not joined the Discord yet, there is a link in the video description. Just let me know where you're coming from and your handle on that platform, such as like your YouTube account name when you show up, so I can identify you properly. And then you'll have access to things like our pet photo board and the game suggestion board. All right. Again, I hope everybody had fun tonight, and see you again on Thursday.